Hello, Triad members. It's Pastor Jennifer with another practice that you and your Triad can take up together this week. You have probably seen already prayer walking video 1. This is the second prayer walk video that I'd like to offer to you. This is a variation on the prayer walk that's going to look a little different from what I explained to you before. Whereas the first one is pretty unstructured and informal, this prayer walk, an Emmaus Walk, is more structured. And whereas before you were probably walking alone, this one requires a companion or two. So this is an Emmaus Walk. It's based off of the story from the Gospel of Luke, where two of Christ's disciples are walking along the road to Emmaus after the crucifixion, and they encounter the risen Lord Christ. But they don't realize that it is Christ, and they don't know that Jesus has risen from the dead yet. That story ends with those powerful words that we hope you all experience at some point in your Triad life. Weren't our hearts burning within us when they encountered Christ through this conversation they had on the road while they were walking? This practice incorporates reading that passage together and then having a silent and slow walk and then having a time to discuss. Now, you and your Triad might like to get together to do this practice in person. If you're feeling safe enough to do so, and you wear masks and observe all the best practices for social distancing, perhaps there's a place where you could meet to walk out of doors and experience this practice together. If your Triad still feels like it is best to stay separated, you could still do this practice together. Take a phone with you on your walk. Plan a time that you will all be available to do this together, and set your intentions to join virtually in this practice. Here's how it works. You're going to, again, set a time and place for you all to gather. Begin your time by reading this story from the Gospel of Luke. Now, this is a long passage of Scripture. It's Luke 24, and the whole story in its entirety is verses 13 through 49. I'm going to include an abridged version that gives the gist of the story to you in a PDF that I'll link below this video. And you can use that as your group to read and discuss together. So you'll begin by reading that story. And you may do that before you set out, or you may read that slowly as you begin walking together. And then you walk slowly, without rush, and also without filling the air with conversation. This is meant to be a time of silent walking together, which will prove to be challenging in some ways. We're so used to, when we are with somebody, filling the space between us with words and conversation. Especially if you're getting together with your Triad and you haven't yet met in person, the temptation to fill the air with small talk and what you see on the walking path that you're sharing, or just getting to know one another, will be high. But try to hold off on that and be very intentional about your time and your conversation. There will be time to talk later. Walk for about 10 minutes or more, just letting those words from the story sink into your hearts and making room for questions to arise in you. Where are you in this story? Where have you encountered God before? Who are the close companions that you undertake spiritual journeys with? Hold those questions in silence for just a little bit. And at the end of your time, find a quiet place to talk, or, again, connect on the phone and share these questions together. How is the walk of companionship different from a prayer walk of solitude? Reflect on the scripture and the story and what came to you in that time of silence. Share a time when God spoke to you and set your heart on fire. Once those questions begin to unfold among your Triad, I'm confident that the conversation will really deepen and take a spiritual turn. So this practice incorporates both the simple act of walking together with somebody and also the complex act of spiritual conversation and prayer together. End your time together with prayer as you would any Triad meeting, and let us know how it goes. And if you need any help, just reach out. Pastor Colin and I are praying for you, and we'll be happy to help guide you in this journey. Thanks for watching this. Keep in touch.